Hi.
I'm Tom,
And I'm Heather.
and welcome to our Lazy R Homestead Kitchen.
Today we're going to kind of have a battle of the brews. Regular French press coffee and cold press coffee. Or cold brew coffee. So Tom is going to make some coffee tonight, double strength from what he usually does in the French press to chill overnight. And I'm going to start a cold brew overnight. It's supposed to brew for about 12 hours. And tomorrow morning we can have our taste test.
Okay, we're going to start with the French press coffee, which we're going to chill overnight. Normally you use about a quarter cup, which is about an ounce of coffee, but we want to make it double strength, so we're going to use half a cup, which we have determined is about 2 ounces or about 56 grams. So I'm going to put it on the scale and I'm going to measure out 56 grams of coffee grounds, which are ground at the coarse setting on the coffee grinder. 52. 56. And then we take water that is just below boil. And this usually pours fairly well, so hopefully it won't spill all over the table. So
How much water is that?
It's about 24 ounces of water. And then here's the insert for the press. Put it in with the plunger all the way up. And I have a timer here that needs to sit for 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes. Once you've steeped it for 4 minutes, you have to press it. So just kind of slowly press the plunger down, not too fast, or you'll stir up the grounds too much. And that's it. So I'm gonna put the coffee in this 1 quart mason jar and put it in the refrigerator overnight.
That looks like more than 3 cups.
It is.
It's like 3.5 maybe, or 3.25.
Yeah.
I love cold brew coffee that I buy at the grocery store, but I want to try making it myself, and I've never done it. It could save me a lot of money, so I'm basing this off a recipe from All Recipes, and it says to use 56 grams of coarsely ground coffee. This is a half of a recipe. They had called for 113 grams, so I'm making it 106, or 56, I mean, grams. I rinsed out and cooled down the French press before I started using it. Okay, 56. And then I need to pour in 2 cups of water, which I have measured out, filtered water, and my husband used filtered water in his recipe also. So my husband had about 3.5 cups of water in his recipe. I only have 2 in mine. He just pours the water in and then puts the top on to steep, but I'm supposed to stir mine around to make sure it all gets soaking wet. All the grounds are saturated. Now, if you have a glass French press, you'd want to use a wooden or plastic utensil to stir it, but it doesn't matter with this metal one. And then I put this in the fridge. You can put it on the counter or in the fridge, but I want it cold in the morning, so I'm putting it in the fridge overnight. Maybe I'll just, I don't know. I have to keep the plunger up overnight. You don't want to plunge it. And then in the morning, after it's been about 12 hours, I'm supposed to plunge it and pour the liquid out. It is currently 10:30 p.m., so about 10 a.m. is about the earliest I'd probably want to start making this. Okay, it's 11 the next morning. We're a little late. My husband had to start the crock pot and stuff this morning. This has been sitting in the fridge for 12 and a half hours. And I just pressed the plunger down. The plunger simply pushes the coffee grounds down to the bottom, and it has a filter on it. And so now it will be ready to pour into our glasses. If I wanted to store this for any length of time, I would want to pour it into a jar. Okay, I went and got a jar. So I had put in 2 cups of water. 2 cups of water and 2 ounces of coffee grounds. And I have ended up with about 1.5 cups of coffee. So about 1/2 cup of coffee or 1/2 cup of water stayed in the grounds.
I have 2 mugs. I'm a hot coffee drinker. I don't really like cold coffee, so I'm going to be taste testing them hot today. This one here on my left is the French press coffee, and the one on my right is the cold brew coffee. I've heated them both up, and I like just a little bit of sugar and cream, so I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in each one, and then add a little cream. Oh.
What?
The cold brew coffee did kind of a thing. Maybe there was some air pockets in it from the microwave.
Oh, it foamed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now he did heat the cold brew coffee in the microwave, but he heated the hot brew coffee from the French press last night on the stove.
Yeah. They definitely look different. I don't know if that's from the heating process or the way that they were prepared.
Okay.
Okay.
And I have, this is the coffee Tom made with the hot brew method in the French press last night and then chilled in the refrigerator overnight. I like my coffee cold. I'll do hot or cold, but I really like cold coffee.
She's doing hers latte style.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say. Now I can't remember. This is the cold brew coffee. Oh, yeah, what I wanted to say is I'm preparing this the way I like to prepare my cold brew coffees. Oh, I think I need a pour. And to really be accurate, that's why I'm measuring. I want a fair comparison. I don't normally actually measure my coffee and milk. I put no sugar in it, just half cold brew, or in this case, chilled double strength coffee, and half milk. I'm using 1% milk. Can I borrow your spoon? Or I can just swirl them. I'll just set it over here. I can say, just looking at mine, they do look different. The cold brew was a little darker. You did have more water in yours. You had 2 cups of water for the same amount, 3 cups of water for the same amount of coffee grounds, and I had 2 cups of water for the same amount of coffee grounds. So mine is a little darker.
Plus mine only spent 4 minutes in the grounds. Yours spent 12 hours.
4 hot minutes. And mine was 12 and a half cold minute, or 12 and a half cold hours. So, you want to taste yours first? So that's your regular coffee, yes.
I know this will be good.
Does that taste as you remember your regular cup of coffee tasting? Or does it taste different from having been chilled and reheated?
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's a little weak. Which is weird.
Wait a minute. Did you water these back down to make them regular strength?
No.
So you made it double strength, and then you didn't sort of reconstitute it. So it should be stronger, but it's weak.
Tastes a little bit weak. Maybe it's because I usually, when I make French press, I usually
Grind it a little
finer, so it brews stronger in the French press. But this was very coarsely ground, so.
Which is the way you're supposed to do it in the
Which
French
is the way
press.
you're supposed to do it, yeah.
Okay.
It's good though.
But it doesn't taste significantly different. Just a little weak.
It's stronger. It's actually a little bit more bitter too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so traditionally cold brew is supposed to be less bitter because you don't apply heat. But your cold brew is more bitter.
Yeah, and it's interesting how it looks like the cream
It's
didn't
curdled.
really mix in that well. It kind of curdled up, but whereas the other one, the cream.
Well, and curdling would be caused by acids. So the cold brew in this case may be more acidic. We could actually do a pH test.
We could.
We should do a pH test. So this is my regular, you know what, I'm going to start with a cold brew because this is made the way cold brew, I usually make my cold brew. So this would be my standard. And does this taste like the cold brew that I buy at the store? This does not taste like the cold brew I buy at the store. It's not as good. I buy Chameleon cold brew coffee. It's got a more complex flavor. I think it's, what roast coffee? What kind of roast?
Colombian.
Colombian, what kind of roast? Like, was it high, like a dark roast, medium roast?
I'm not sure. I have to look at the package.
Because I don't like a lot of roast on my coffee. I think this tastes like it's a higher roast than what I prefer. But it doesn't taste particularly bitter. It's almost like a little more, well, roasty. You know what I mean? Like, it has a more toasted flavor, almost more earthy and complex than the cold brew that I buy. Okay, that's just weak. That just tastes like watered down milk. There's hardly any coffee flavor. So that's kind of a fail. It doesn't even taste. See, this is less bitter. This isn't bitter really, but this is less bitter because there's like no coffee flavor. So it's not a win for me. I don't think either one of them is bitter, but this one is not bitter because there's not very much coffee in it.
Maybe this one's bitter to me because
it's stronger.
The milk curdled in it and it didn't really like mix in with the coffee like it usually does.
Yeah, I find that very weird. I mean, I wonder if it had to do with the microwave and the cup being hot, or it was hotter because you just took it out of the microwave. Maybe it was a little too hot for the cream and it cooked it.
Yeah, could be.
I think yours needed to be made stronger. I don't think it worked very well.
Well, it's twice as much coffee as I usually put in when I make French press, and our French press coffee is usually quite tasty.
Yes, I love our French press coffee generally when I have it hot, but I don't put this much milk in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll just like combine them and put some extra of mine. But I want to set some aside. I want to do a pH test on this. I just need to make it a little stronger. I got some filtered water, the same water we made the coffee out of. I got 2 glass jars that are the same size, and our fish tank pH test kit. So, and that's our dog drinking water. Lap, lap, lap. Okay, so I want to put the same amount of water in each jar. Just a little bit to dilute the color of the coffee. I think like 10 grams would be good. Okay, 10 grams. Daisy! A cat. Okay. That's why I told her no. Okay.
Yeah, she's not going to be coming out of there too easily.
I'm just going to make a lot of noise. Okay, hopefully our mic is still on, yeah. Okay, so 10 grams of water in each. And I need to measure out the coffee. Maybe 10 grams of coffee, if possible. Hopefully. Probably should have measured out the coffee first. Oops. Well, I need to wipe up that spill because I'm weighing the spill. Okay. Stop dribbling.
Okay.
Okay. So 10 of cold brew. I don't know if we're going to be able to really see the acidity levels. We're not going to be able to compare them to the chart, but we can compare them to each other and see if one's more blue or more yellow. Okay. Okay, 10 French press hot brew. Cold brew. Also matters how dark they are because compared to each other, because this one's already a little darker. So, you know, the acidity is going to be changed because one is stronger than the other one. So it's bound to be more acidic unless the coffee is actually alkaline. Okay, so now I need to put in 3 drops of actually, that's a little bigger than the amount I usually put in, so I need to put more than 3 drops in. Just as long as I put the same number of drops in each one, it'll be fine. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not seeing any color change. Well, the thing is, alkaline is going to make it bluer, and acidic is going to make it yellower. So you're not going to be able to see the acidic very well. Maybe I needed like a drop of coffee.
Yeah, yellow and brown doesn't really make a different color.
You know what would work? You know what would work better would be those test strips I used to have where you put a drop on the strip. But I don't have any of those anymore. Do we have any conclusions for our outro?
Don't reheat coffee in the microwave.
Yes, good one. Okay.
And even though you're supposed to coarse grind coffee for the French press, apparently we've gotten used to it being more finely ground. So maybe I shouldn't grind it so coarsely anymore when we French press coffee.
But you end up with a sludge.
Yeah.
When the way he normally grinds his coffee for a French press,
It's
especially when you get to the bottom.
Stuff at the
Now,
bottom, yeah.
I like it fine, but it does get a little thick, chewy on the bottom.
Yeah.
You kind of have a grit in your mouth.
Just a little powdery grit, Bob.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, but
What
it's
do you
not
think?
preferable. I think that if I want to make cold brew at home to save money, so I'm not buying those chameleon cold brews all the time, I need to perfect it a little bit better.
Yeah, you just looked at one recipe. Well, I don't know how many recipes you looked at, but you
Well,
picked
I
one
looked.
recipe and
I tried one recipe.
you tried one recipe.
They're all
maybe
about
just
the
need
same,
to-
though. But I think that I need to get a different coffee. I think I need a lighter roast coffee to get it to taste quite as mellow as the chameleon cold brew.
Right.
That chameleon cold brew is smooth. It's really good. But it's a lot of money to buy a bottle of that every week. So
Well, do the commercial places like Chameleon and stuff like that, do they use slightly different methods to cold brew the coffee, or do they literally just
I have
soak
no
it in water and then filter it out?
you know, I don't know, but I mean, if it's cold brew, it's going to be basically the same. But I'm sure that as a company, they have fine-tuned it to get it just the right amount of time, just the right temperature. Like I put mine in the fridge, but our fridge was at freezing this morning, so it might have been too cold in there to get quite all the flavor out. And at the same time, this also tastes like it's a different roast than I would prefer. So, you know, I think the recipe is good. I just need to fine tune it for exactly what I want. And so that it's probably going to mean maybe slightly adjusting measurements, maybe brewing it on the counter instead of in the fridge, depending on the time of year. And certainly like changing what roast to get the coffee just the way I want it. We hope you had a good International Coffee Day.